Hey guys, Coach Parris here. We're back for another Team Truth video. In this one we have Emilia, and she's gonna hit a lower body session. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do a full workout walkthrough here. So it's gonna be more posterior dominant, so a little bit more glute and hamstring dominant leg day here. We're gonna have lots of fun. She's been working really hard, just finished a fat loss phase here, so we're gonna see how she's doing. All right, so we're gonna start out with the barbell back squat. So with Emilia, we've been working on this movement for a few training blocks now, and the key focus for her is making sure that we keep her chest up and sitting back more onto our midfoot and our heels. And then I always give the cue of spreading the floor out of the bottom of the movement. So if you had like a piece of paper on the floor, trying to physically like rip that piece of paper, and that just helps engage all the strong musculature around your hips and your glutes. Sure that Okay, so a key focus that we use with a lot of our clients is the depth at which we hit with squats. So depending on your mobility, like the level of depth that you can hit might change. But I think a lot of people tend to sacrifice the depth and the range of motion in order to just add more weight to the bar. But remember, if we want to get the most gains possible, we want to be hitting our muscles throughout their full range of motion and applying tension throughout the full range of motion, right? So don't cut the depth on your squats. Last set, same idea. Although the conventional deadlift can be a great movement in certain contexts, I actually use Romanian deadlifts a lot with my clients for a few different reasons. The first one mainly is that there's a massive fatigue cost with conventional deadlifts. So it ends up impacting your performance potentially in the rest of the session. And remember, we can only recover from so much. So, if you're eating away at your kind of, fatigue storages too much with the conventional deadlift, then of course it affects the volume for the rest of your training week. Secondly is with the conventional deadlift, there is a lack of eccentric, right? So the eccentric contraction is, the negative portion of the rep, or, the lengthening muscle contraction. So there's a lot more emphasis on the eccentric contraction with Romanian deadlifts compared to with a traditional deadlift. And we know that eccentric contractions are very important for muscle growth. So we're gonna watch Emilia. She's gonna hit a few sets of Romanian deadlifts here with the barbell. Nice. Good. So if you watch some of Emilia's sets, you actually notice that she does a very slight pause at the bottom of her reps. Now that's going to definitely make it harder, but in her case, I think it's more of a mental cue to make sure that you really feel, again, that eccentric portion of the rep, and that we don't rush things out of the bottom. So making sure that we get that full stretch in the hamstring, feel the tension there for a second, breathe, pause, and then shoot the hips back through to meet the bar with our hands. Here we go. Good, watch. Go. Perfect. Good. Nice. 7. 8, good. Go. All right, so next up we have the Bulgarian Split Squat. Now for this one, we're taking a slightly longer stance, just so again, we can get a better stretch in the glutes and the hamstrings. I find when you have your foot a bit closer to the bench, then you get a little bit more quad, depending on how you do it, and then take that longer stance, again, a little bit more hamstring and glute tie-in. This is definitely a challenging one. Not many people like it, but I think for women, this is like one of the best exercises that you can get really good at. A lot of people focus all on barbell squats, which is great, but to get some variation, especially for hitting the glutes and hamstrings. All right, so next we're gonna hit the leg press to really just finish off the legs. We're gonna do one straight set, and then we're gonna do one set which has some drop sets in it. That's just an intensity technique or metabolite technique that I like to use on certain exercises. Leg press is good because you can really apply a lot of tension to the quads, but without, again, the same fatigue cost as like a standard back squat or hack squat machine. So leg press might be a little bit underrated, I would say, in my opinion, if, again, you use good full range of motion, good setup, good execution. There we go. All right, so Emilia, if you had to choose one exercise that's your favorite for leg day, what would you say?
I actually really like hip thrusts.
Hip thrusts.
As much as I hated them at the start, I've really grown to love them.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I've built up weight so much. Once I figured out the form, it's really been like a good feeling in the gym too.
Yeah, for sure. And if you had to choose one, the least favorite leg movement?
You couldn't guess what I just did. Yeah, the split squats. Yeah.
Okay, good. You can't like them all, but we try to find a good balance of like enjoyability and what we think is like, you know, optimal, although that's kind of a pie in the sky, you know, as close to optimal as we think we can get. But if you're not like actually enjoying the workouts, you're gonna put far less energy and effort into them. So, you know, we try to find that healthy balance just to make sure that when people go in the gym, they're not like, oh, I have to go work out. They're like, man, I love this workout, right? And then push to the heels. Good, come on for 8, let's go. 2. Good, 3. 4, come on. 5. Okay, so Emilia, maybe walk me through kind of, I know you've been a fit person for most of your life, maybe walk me through a little bit of the difference of what we've done in our process specifically versus what you've previously done in the past.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of group fitness and I loved it, but I've never done a program kind of tailored to myself and kind of the ways that I wanted to go. So I wasn't sure how well it would go, to be honest, because like going by myself to the gym has never been successful, but finding a coach that kind of understands where I wanted to go, like what direction, and then also kind of creating a program that keeps it interesting and motivating has really made a difference for me, and I love it now. Like it's something I look forward to pretty much every day working out.
Awesome. And maybe give us like an overview of the results so far. So like where do we start and where are we at kind of now with things?
Yeah, I kind of started being out of practice from exercise exercising just with the pandemic and not really doing too much, not being too active. So we started up just building up strength, and I surprised myself with how fast I kind of jumped up and back to where I used to be, and then I've even kind of gone ahead of where I expected to be at this time. So
Yeah, surpassed it.
yeah, it's been good.
Done an awesome job. And the cool thing is like all those performance kind of gains that we've made have also come along with some really cool changes in body composition too. So, you know, we started just kind of getting the ball rolling and getting our structure, and then we kind of kick things up a notch with going a bit more assertive in direction towards fat loss. So, and then I guess we've been running fat loss for, like specifically for, I guess, around 3 months or so.
I think so, yeah.
Somewhere around there. So we lost probably, what, like
15
pounds, yeah. So, so it's hard to remember everybody. But
yeah.
So like 15 pounds, and like, you know, for Emilia, she's not like a big person too. So like 15 pounds is a pretty, you know, a pretty significant portion of body weight to lose. But that was not just like, you know, body weight, that was like fat, right? And that like, so it's pretty impressive that we were able to probably even put on a little bit of shape at the same time as losing that fat. So now we're gonna reverse calories back up and go into a building phase and really just see how much muscle we can build.